Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 Internet Marketing Plan for Restoration Contractors. We got a crazy year behind us. We're getting ready to kick off our webinar. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes. We got a couple of people waiting to get into the room. I want to welcome everybody that's here today. Hopefully, before we start, get yourself a pad of paper out, get ready to go. We have a lot of information to cover, and hopefully, you're going to get a lot of value out of this webinar. Looks like we got two more people joining in. Okay, so we're going to get started. Again, my name is Benjamin Riccardi, and I can't wait to kick this thing off. First things first, we're going to talk about what we're going to cover. So, as you may or may not know, we're going to go over a lot. But first and foremost, no matter what you have going on in 2021, whatever happened in 2020, or any kind of goal or anything you're trying to achieve, you have to have a plan and you have to have goals. Or how do you measure and track what you're trying to do? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set some goals for 2021. And we're going to kind of figure out, how many leads. And I'm sure if you're here, you're a restoration business owner or a marketer, or just trying to figure out how to get more sales in 2021 and do a little bit better than last year. So we're going to try to figure out how many leads you're going to need to take to hit that goal. All right. Next thing we're going to look at are the fundamentals of marketing, and specifically digital marketing. I mean, nowadays, that's kind of the name of the game. That's how a lot of revenue is driven, especially for service-based industries like the restoration niche. And then we're going to take a look at the big picture of online marketing channels that you should be tapping into that's going to maximize your lead flow online. So we're going to walk you through some things that we do here at Ironclad Restoration Marketing for our clients to help them triple their leads and really just help them complete that circle of marketing that they need to be concentrating on. But before we get going, I want to just touch base a couple little housekeeping things here. Silence, turn off your cell phones. That should be number one. We don't need any interruptions right now. We're going to be covering a lot of ground. I talk really fast sometimes, so I don't want you to miss anything. If you do, we're going to be posting a replay of this on our YouTube channel, on our website. We'll be posting it on social. So don't fret if you have an emergency phone call and you have to jump up. In the next couple of days, you should be able to get back in here and watch the webinar. Turn off Facebook. That's a huge distraction. Any kind of social media. Actually, close out any internet browsers except for Zoom if you're on your desktop. Again, we just want to be super focused on what's going to be happening right now. And if you're a restoration business owner and you're serious about crushing 2021, getting better results for your business, increasing your lead flow, then the next hour or so is really going to help you get on the right track. And we're going to kind of do it together. So lastly, just get a pen and paper together. Get it ready. I'm a big note taker. It's always nice to be able to go back and read things and kind of reaffirm what we've talked about and kind of make sure that you're on the right track here. And like you may have noticed, anybody that sticks around for the entire thing, we're gonna go ahead and give you the ultimate internet marketing checklist for restoration contractors. It's something we put together here that we like to give away to kind of let business owners kind of do a self-check and make sure, one, to fill any gaps they may be missing. If they are doing some marketing and they're really not, getting the results that they wanted to get. And two, it may reaffirm that you're actually on the right track. So we'll send it to you in an email after the webinar is over if you haven't already gotten it, or you can just head to our website and grab that anytime. So who am I? I don't know. I ask myself that question a lot. I'm just joking. My name is Benjamin Riccardi. I'm the founder of Ironclad Restoration Marketing. I'm the author of my brand new book we just released called The No Bullshit Guide to Internet Marketing for Restoration Contractors. Shameless plug, it's available on Amazon if you want to take a look. This really maps out everything that you need to do to make sure that you are getting the most out of your marketing efforts, and especially when it comes to digital marketing, because we all know how ambiguous this is. I was a contractor. I was in the contracting world for a long time. I grew up in the industry, so I really understand, especially the service-based industry, what it takes, what closed jobs look like, and really how to grow organically and how to make sure you're investing your money properly to grow the right way. I have spoken at multiple industry events and trade shows. I love talking. If anybody that knows me, it's really hard to get me to be quiet. And I have a leadership role in a lot of different business networking groups. I love networking. I love meeting people. And again, I like talking. So I've made sure I've set myself up in a leadership role in those things to really help business owners get the most out of their marketing efforts and really learn how to grow. And I do work with restoration industry businesses, air quality industry people all across the United States. Whether you're in a vertical that has anything to do with them, mold remediation, mold testing, home inspectors, public adjusters, anything that falls within that restoration niche, we definitely work with anywhere in the United States. And this is what we do. At Ironclad Restoration Marketing, we help restoration business owners get more jobs, get more leads, get more sales by just getting their internet marketing right. You know, if we can just get that under control, then we're all on the right path here. So one thing I do a lot is we talk to our clients a lot. We talk to prospective clients. When I'm out, when I'm doing these events, when we used to be able to do trade shows and stuff like that, I was asking people what has been the hardest part about marketing your restoration business online. And I implore you guys, drop some messages in the chat if you feel like chiming in. I will get to them. But overall, it really boils down to a few things. One, there's a lot of options out there when it comes to marketing your business, and it's really hard and it's unclear a lot of times where to spend that money. And the reason is because not a lot of people are tracking, and we're going to talk about that today. Not a lot of people are looking at the data and making decisions based off analytics and data. They're making decisions based off either something that's not working or they're basing their decisions off an emotion. And we're going to get away from that. But really, there are a lot of options. And the easy answer is, hey, try them all. Marketing is a guessing game. But what we're going to do today is we're going to try to map out a clear path for you to make sure that you're at least getting what you can get out of this. Now, the other thing that we hear a lot is, obviously, it does take a major investment in marketing for you to succeed. I mean, look, you know if you're in this industry how competitive it is, and a lot of service-based industries, depending on the market, but it's very competitive. So if you really want to do it, you have to make a major investment in marketing. But the problem with that is a lot of times you just don't have a lot to show for it. Maybe you've worked with an agency for a little while, didn't get the results that you were expecting. Your expectations weren't met, or you've tried it yourself and you're really struggling with it. One thing that sucks is actually spending money on something or really dedicating a lot of time to something and you don't have anything to show for it. And again, a lot of this boils down to just not having a plan, which is the purpose of today's webinar, is to map out a plan. Now, again, it goes back to what I just said. There are a lot of things that you can do to market your business. I mean, there's so many, but it really boils down to just making sure you have a clear plan to make sure you're not overspending. That's a big thing that we see a lot. Or, as crazy as it sounds, you're not underspending. It's crazy to go into an internet marketing plan without a clear-cut plan, without any kind of research or data. And we've seen people go and, not clients of ours, but when we're bringing in prospects and we're talking to them, and, we hear horror stories, spending $10,000 in a day on pay-per-click and not getting a single call. And we want to avoid all that, or just not spending enough. It's spending money is great, but if you're not spending enough money, it's a waste either way. Right. So, but there's an opportunity that exists with all of this. Okay. The opportunity is that you can easily map out a clear plan with goals, with targets and KPIs. And KPI is just an acronym for key performance indicators. How are you going to measure if you're on the right track to getting these goals? And if you do that, you're going to, I promise you, you're going to generate enough leads that you're going to be able to hit your targets, hit your goals, whether they're yearly revenue or quarterly revenue or whatever it may be, and to keep your trucks on the road, and even better, be able to grow a little bit. All right. So at the end of the day, we want to just have a great return on your investment, whether it's your time investment, your sweat equity, or your actual money. And with the clear plan, you're going to hit success. You're going to maximize your lead flow. You're going to hit your sales goals for 2021. All right. So if you guys are all with me, we're going to start this right off. And a lot of webinars that we do, if you follow along with us on social media, we do these every so often, every month. As much as we possibly can, because we want to provide a lot of value out there. And the first thing I always do is set clear goals, but it's more important now than ever. Look, we're mid-January right now. 2020 was 2020. I think it's going to go down in history as like one of those things. There's going to be a lot of funny shirts for a long time about it. But we have an opportunity to kind of reset our mentality a little bit, refocus, and make sure that we're all on the right path here. So we're going to set some clear goals. And that's just going to make some wind in your sails, right? If your, New Year's resolution was to lose weight, right? And you have a goal in mind, and you have a plan to execute that goal, then that's just wind in your sails, right? You know exactly that the reason that you're on the right track. So just to kind of reaffirm my goal setting kind of idea, I always love to go back to this Harvard study in 1979 that interviewed their outgoing graduates. about goals, and 84% of those grads had no specific goals in mind. Look, they're like a lot of us. Hey, yeah, we're done, man. Throw that cap up in the air, and we're on to the next thing. 13% of those graduates had goals, but they didn't have any of those goals written down. All right, so they had the right idea. You know, the goal may have been, I want to become, you know, whatever. I want to make $10 million. That's great. We can all say that. But you need to have them written down. So out of all those grads, only 3% had clear written down goals with a plan to how they were going to accomplish or execute those, you know, get to those goals. So the results, well, the 13% of the class that had goals, that just had the goals, were earning about twice as much as the other 84%. That's astounding. That's great. But even more astounding than that is the 3% that had it actually were earning 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. All right, so that right there, if that doesn't tell you how important having goals and writing those goals down, but more so having a plan to accomplish them, I don't know what else. So I told you guys, grab a piece of paper. I want you to just jot down. I'm going to give you a second right now to just write your goals down for 2021, specifically to your business, to your restoration business. We'll go out on a limb. Most of the people that are here today are restoration business owners, or you market for a restoration business. So go ahead and write your goal down for 2021 for your business. And while you're writing that goal, let's think about a few things here. We want to think about making sure you have them written down, and you need to set a minimum of a yearly goal. You want to have quarterly goals. You want to have monthly goals. I didn't write it here, but you're going to have weekly goals. And more so than that is you have to have a stopping point at the beginning of each one of these time metrics that you're doing to kind of reflect on how you did based on what you set for your goal. Because, you know, your weekly goals are going to lead to your monthly. The monthly is going to lead to the quarterly. And obviously the quarterly is going to lead to the year. So the last thing you want to do, and again, I'm going to go back to the working out thing. We're all, you know, trying to hit these New Year's resolutions. That's a big one that a lot of people try to get back into shape. And so we'll pretend like my goal is, hey, I want to lose 60 pounds. Okay, great. And the only time I ever measure or track anything, and the next time I step on a scale, is at the end of the year. I'm either going to have hit my target. Luckily, you know, I did well. I didn't track or measure anything, and I lost the 60 pounds. Or I'm going to get on there and I've only lost 10 pounds, or worse yet, I've gained weight. Well, that gap between the year and the end of the year, I don't have anything written down. I don't know what may have happened. So just like your business, if you set a revenue goal for a year, you need to be tracking this thing on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. Whatever amount of time you do, the little teeny bit of tracking, just scratch the surface, is going to go a long way with making sure that you're on the right track to hit that goal at the end of the year. All right, and remember, for the purposes of today's webinar, since we're talking a lot about digital marketing, you just have to remember your website, or we'll call it the hub, exists to get people to fulfill those business goals for you. Okay, I want you to write that down, memorize it, because again, that is a key to your online success. All right. Again, I want to go back to tracking results. Okay, what are your goals for 2021? So by now you should have written something down, right? So you know, maybe you wrote down what's your revenue target, right? And then you've got to start working some math equations after that, right? So let's say, hey, you want to make $1 million. What's your revenue target? What does that mean you need to make a month, right? And then from there, how many jobs is that going to require you to close? So really good practice right now, if you're jotting notes, is one thing, if you don't have it, is you need to start figuring out some average values of certain leads, closed leads. So if you're a water, fire, mold guy, you know, you should have a stack that says, hey, this is how much a water job on average, this is how much I make from that. This is how much I make from a mold job. This is how much I make from a fire damage job. And this is how much I make from storm damage, or if you do biohazard, whatever the service you offer, it doesn't matter. You just have to have an idea of the average value of that type of job. And that's really going to help you work backwards with math to figure out what your revenue targets need to be on a weekly and monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. So an example again is, hey, you wrote down, I want to do $1 million in sales this year. That's awesome. Look, hey, I'd love to be able to do that. I mean, everybody would. If it's $10 million, it doesn't matter. So $1 million in sale. And let's just say your average job value is $5,000, okay? That means you're going to need to do right around 17. That's at 16.75 or something like that. But you need to do 17 jobs consistently every month to be able to hit that revenue target. So again, you can see why tracking these results really closely, keeping your fingers on the pulse of what you're doing, looking at things like, you know, what you're doing for marketing, and looking at a weekly basis and how many people are you reaching, how many calls are you getting in. Ultimately, the holy grail would be able to know how many calls come in what the percentage of those calls actually close and turn into a job, and then what the average lead value of all that stuff is. Because how are you supposed to come up with a marketing budget that makes sense, that's going to be effective, if you don't know these numbers right off the bat? So I don't care if you're doing this work yourself or if you're going to hire an agency to do this. Before you even step to the plate, you need to have some batting practice, and that's really going to be kind of taking a look in the mirror at your business and looking at what your goals are, what you did last year, what you've done to kind of get there, and then kind of figuring out the numbers. You're kind of looking like, if you're going to hire an agency and just be like, yeah, we need to get more leads. What's that mean? How many do you have before we started? What was the revenue target? I mean, we need to be able to fill in these gaps wherever they may be in your business. All right, so now that you've kind of maybe mapped out your goals, you maybe wrote a number that you want to go there. I love it. Put it out in the universe. 10 million, 50 million, $100 billion. It doesn't matter what it is. And the goal right there after this section really is going to be putting together a plan to kind of get to those goals. All right, and we're going to jump right into this now. So how are we going to fulfill those goals, right? Well, all marketing boils down to three kind of buckets. You have your market, the message, and the media. Market is who? Who are you marketing to? The message is, what are you going to tell them that's going to make them use you or get them to buy your product or get them to use your service? And the media is, how are you going to convey that message to them? So for the purposes of today, the media is always going to be the website. That is your hub of information. So everything that we're going to be talking about is centralized around your website and how you're going to position your website to go ahead and get those leads from the internet and actually close those leads more so. So we're going to take a look at the first thing, market. It's pretty cut and dry. I mean, look, you're in the restoration niche, it seems like it's simple, but it's not. You need to be writing this stuff down and really understand, because until you can see things through your target market's eyes, it's really hard to market to them. So you need to think about who your ideal customer is, right? People with property damage, a property manager that may manage multiple apartment complexes or commercial buildings. Who is it? Do you want to talk to real estate agents? Do you want to talk to public adjusters? Are you trying to reach nothing but, people like in the insurance world to get referred work to? It doesn't matter who it is. You have to know who they are before you do anything. So think about who you're speaking to. And with your market, you need to learn about them a little bit more so you can address their pain points. What are they worried about? What's going to keep them from calling you or make them call your competition over you? All right. And you got to figure out from the market, once you identify who that is, you craft your messaging. All right. So we're going to look at a bit. And one of the ways to do that actually is your unique selling point. You're going to see USP quite a bit. That's just your unique selling point. What makes you different? You have 5-star reviews on Google. Are you a member of the IICRC? We'll jump into this in a little bit. But for now, let's think about some ways that we can identify your ideal customer. You should write this down. Who are you trying to market to? Are you looking to only market to the homeowner that has property damage? And then you can take it a step further than that, and you can think about, hey, well, we only want to do mold jobs, or we only want to do water damage restoration, or maybe you're in South Florida like I am and you get 3 million hurricanes a year, and you want to just do storm damage contracting. Maybe you're an indoor air quality guy. It really doesn't matter. Knowing who your customer is, what their pain points are, what's going to motivate them to take action is huge. All right. So again, are you looking for property managers, right? Do you only want commercial work? I know a few clients of ours, that's really all they want. Are you trying to partner up with insurance companies? Are you looking to, get referrals from plumbers or roofers? Those are great verticals to drive work for you. So, and then I talk about addressing their fears. Okay. You've got to be able to kind of address everything right off the bat, again, with your website. So a lot of people we talk to, hey, everybody's just scared of being ripped off or overcharged. Look, you're dealing with, let's just talk about the property owner, the homeowner. They've had some sort of catastrophic property damage. The last thing they should be having to worry about, and they do, is being ripped off by somebody. And I know it's rampant in just industry across the US, but that's huge. So you got to figure out a way to kind of position yourself to ease them, without saying, hey, I'm not going to rip you off. Well, that's the first thing somebody that's going to rip you off usually says. The next thing that we hear a lot is they're worried that their home's going to get even more damage from having a bad, contractor come in. And we've seen it. I mean, if you've had anybody ever come in your house, your plumber can find some mold under a sink from a water leak. They get you out there, test the mold. You're going in to rip everything out, and one of your subs comes in and they mess up a door jamb, or they scratch a piece of furniture, or they track mud everywhere. That's going to piss people off. And you know what? People are going to be looking for stuff like that when they're looking at Google reviews and they're vetting out your business. So that kind of stuff you can address with your message once you identify what your market is afraid of. The other big thing is having to wait around, waiting for you. They don't want to wait. Look, we live in a microwave society. People want instant gratification. So, getting that messaging and understanding that people are afraid of that and crafting a message and content that is going to put them at ease is huge, okay? And another big thing, and I guess, this happens a lot, but just trying to coordinate, you don't pick up your phone. A lot of people don't, they're not following up, they're not getting back to you. That's going to be huge. So if you can address just those fears, again, the fears of your target market may be completely different. At the end of the day, you just need to know who you're marketing to. Who is your website content driven to? Who's your social content driven to? And it's really going to help you craft your message, which is the next part of our 3 parts of marketing, right? Craft your message. We talked about, messaging, but it boils down to why should someone choose to do business with you versus the competition, right? What benefits do you offer that your target customer are going to resonate with? So, taking into consideration those fears that we talked about, which are pretty general, a few ways you can do that on your website. It's as simple as putting your 5-star rating on Google. Showing them that you're, invested into your industry, you're a professional. The Better Business Bureau has that A+ rating. Well, in your industry, you've got the IICRC, the RIA. If you're air quality, you got the IAQ. If you're a home inspector, you got FABI. Just being a part of those associations goes a long ways because you do understand that you have to build a lot of trust before that person even picks up the phone to call you. They have to trust and know that you're going to solve their problem. Okay. And a really cool way to be able to help them out with that as well. A lot of restoration contractors offer this, but 24/7 emergency service. The last thing I want when my kitchen catches on fire at 1 in the morning and the fire, departments come and they put out the fire and I'm standing there at 4 a.m. scratching my head, my family's all sad, is, not being able to get somebody on the phone to come over and help me out first thing in the morning, because usually people are pretty motivated to get things done, especially in your industry. All right. So a few things you can think about messaging wise if you're jotting stuff down. And again, I want you to take this information and really apply it to really right now we're dealing with just your website. So make sure, at least for a health check, that you have some of these little boxes checked off. So do you offer same-day service or emergency service? Do you give them straightforward pricing that addresses that ripped off part? Do you guarantee satisfaction? Are you fully licensed and insured? Well, if you're in this meeting, I really hope if you're not fully licensed and insured, maybe put a pause on this Zoom call and go get yourself a business insurance and get yourself insured before you get yourself into trouble. And then, put them at ease a little bit. Remember, I told you have to build up that level of trust. So, hey, we have nothing but experienced technicians with over 50 years experience in the industry, and maybe a picture of your team right there on the homepage, so where these people already know who they're talking to when they call. All right. So what's all this about? Well, it's about a way to craft your market, to understand your market, craft the message that's going to speak to the market. But how are you going to get that information to them? And which is the third part of our marketing, the 3 parts of marketing is going to be the media. How, right? And for today, the purposes of this webinar, we're going to talk specifically about your website, okay? Nowadays, the website is the virtual window into your business. And that's going to be the way you have to craft and put all of your great information out there to be able to get more leads. So you want to remember that your website is your media hub and the first impressions last. So you need a professional website with the proper messaging directed at the proper market that you're trying to get leads from, okay? I know probably a lot of you out there have a nephew or somebody that builds websites. That's great. They've gotten you a website, or maybe you don't have a website at all. And I'm going to stop you right there. If you don't have a website, make sure that put that number 1 above your revenue stream, or maybe somewhere in that line, but that's huge. You need to make sure that you have a website, okay? It's imperative. I mean, your first impressions last. You need to have a website that's professional looking and device responsive. We did a webinar a few months ago about building a website that's built for conversion. It's up on our website. You can watch a replay of it or check us out on YouTube. Totally watch that if you want to make sure that your website's up to par. We're going to scratch the surface of it a little bit today, but today's more about plans and setting goals for the year. So we talked about having a website. So not only just having a website, I mentioned, somebody's nephew or somebody that builds websites for fun. A lot of times that's great. It gets you there. It gets you a site. You've checked off that box, but that site's not built to convert. And when I talk about convert, I'm talking about converting traffic to your site into leads. And that's huge, because you could have the best looking website in the world, but and drive a ton of traffic to it, if you're doing SEO or if you're doing pay-per-click. But if they're not picking up the phone and calling you, then it really makes no difference. It doesn't matter. All right. So a couple things to make sure your website is set up to convert visitors to jobs, and really take this in mind if you're under control of your own website, or maybe you have an agency working on your search engine optimization. Take a look at your homepage, right? We're looking at a homepage, one of our clients here, and there's 3 things, and you're going to see this in that website webinar that we did. But real briefly, one, got to make sure you have a professional looking logo. That's huge. You don't want some janky thing. You don't want something built in the 80s. Have something that is setting your brand apart from the competition. We talked about a website being the window into your virtual business. Well, imagine walking through a shopping mall and then you see, some clip art logo with dirty windows, and you're like, okay, well, these guys are cool. And then you walk next door and this guy's got some really nice logo. Windows are shiny. There's a line out the door to buy. Odds are you're going to go to the second guy. So that's just part of the buyer's journey. Having a professional logo is something you can do really easily. And there's a lot of people out there. We do them all the time for clients. We refresh logos just to bring them up to speed. At Ironclad, we've changed our logo probably 15 times in the last 7 years we've been in business. So it's always important to keep improving your brand so you can build that brand awareness. We talk about USP, your unique selling point. You want that to be prominent, right? These guys offer 24/7 emergency service. And we're going to talk about something called above the fold. Back in the day when they used to do a lot of newspaper advertising, the most valued position on the newspaper was the stuff you saw after the newspaper was folded, right? You don't have to unfold the paper. You pull it up and it's right there in front of your face. And the same thing kind of goes for websites. So when somebody goes to your website, or when you're checking your website out, make sure you have the most important information above the fold here. And the 3 things, again, you have that 24/7 emergency service. You have which is your USP. You have your phone number. A lot of people miss this. So if you notice, we're going to do that. We do this with all of our clients, but the phone number, gosh, if somebody's gone to your website and they've got to scroll around to figure out how they're going to get in touch with you, man, you are just going to probably lose a lot of that traffic. So having a phone number that's prominently displayed, usually up at the top right on desktop, and more so that's clickable. So, I've seen them, websites that you can't click the phone number, and I'm like going back into my phone and I'm trying to type in on the keypad. Just cut that step out, make it easy for them. They found you in your industry. If somebody's looking you up on a search engine or somebody's on your website, there's a really good chance that they need your services. So don't make it difficult for them to get in touch, okay? So again, logo left, professional logo, 24/7, your USP prominently displayed. This could be where you put your Google review badge, clickable phone number. And the other thing, look, we didn't make it very hard to figure out who we were. You want somebody, if any of you have kids, you want a 4th or 5th grader, somebody can read, 3rd grade, 2nd grade. You want them to be able to look at your website with one look, scan it, and be able to tell you what you do, right? You don't want them to have to dig for information. So it's pretty prominent. They're professional mold remediation and water damage restoration contractors with 24/7 emergency service. This button down here is a call now. You got a call now up here. It can't be any more straightforward than that. So talking about conversions, you need to optimize for mobile. Most users are coming from a mobile device these days, so you want to make sure you're optimizing for that UX or user experience on a mobile device. And I'll give you a little story. A few months ago, actually pre-COVID, when we could meet in person, I was polling one of my networking groups that I'm president of, and I just asked everybody, hey, this past weekend, raise your hand if you use the search engine to find a new product or service. And guess what? Everybody raised their hand. All right, great. So 50 out of 50. And the next question I asked is, okay, well, raise your hand now if you found that product or service from a phone. And guess what? Every single person raised their hand except for Judy, who's a little on the older side. I think she still has a flip phone, so I don't think she was using her phone there. But 49 out of 50 people raised their hand that used their phone and found a business using the search engine. So that being said, the other big reason out there right now that you want to think about this, optimize for mobile, is Google went to a mobile first ranking algorithm a few years ago. So yeah, if you're spending any money on SEO, on pay-per-click, you need to make sure that your site is mobile optimized. And there's a lot of ambiguity when it comes to mobile optimization, but really if you take those key fundamentals that I talked to you about on the first part, the first slide before this, showing you the phone number that's easy to click, your logo, your services, the important information above the fold, the same purposes need to apply to your mobile or this is a tablet here. But look, click the number, you can call. So if they've come from a search engine, they already know, by the time they've gotten to your website, you've already kind of pre-qualified them. So let's say you're doing SEO, you're number one on Google, you're in the map section, you're running pay-per-click ads. They click on your ad, they click on your map location, whatever, that gets your website. They're pre-qualified. They need somebody to come help them with some sort of property restoration. Don't make it hard for them to get in touch. Again, look, the most important information is above the fold here. First thing they see, phone number, what they do, that USP that we talked about. You can learn more if you want, but that's it. Usually they don't need to learn more. They already know that you're a property damage contractor if you're doing SEO effectively, okay? So make sure you have that important information above the fold, and more so that it's just really easy to navigate for somebody and you're not making them dig for the information that they want. Again, it boils down to understanding your market, crafting your message, and making sure you're properly displaying that message for them so they don't have to do any guesswork. Take the guesswork right out of it. Sales 101. All right, so your key takeaways on this section, you want to make sure your website speaks to your target customer. More than that, you want to make sure it's optimized for mobile. We used to say, are you mobile ready or not? And do you have those basics in order? Do you have your logo top left? Is it professional looking? Do you have your phone number prominently displayed? Is it clickable so somebody can just call? Given the fact that most people are coming from a mobile device. And do you have straightforward content? You want to make sure you have authentic images on your website and the proper messaging. Again, if you want to do a deeper dive into any of this, the website's built for conversion. We ran a webinar last year on how to turn your website into the ultimate sales machine. And we really break it down. And the other bigger part of that is if you check out the book on Amazon, we have entire chapters dedicated to building websites, how you need to build it, what content management system to use, what content to put up there. So if you're going to do it yourself, we have already mapped it all out for you. If you're using an agency right now and you're spending money on digital marketing, do your due diligence and make sure this stuff is in order. Because if you don't have this stuff in order and you're spending money on digital marketing, you're basically just watering down your marketing budget. You're not going to get the most out of it. Yeah, maybe they're sending a ton of traffic. Maybe they're doing all these stuff that they are putting out there and reporting and it looks good, but you already know that your phone's not ringing. And this may be something that's really hurting you that's kind of outside their scope of work. All right, which we see a lot in this industry, in the marketing industry anyways. So we're going to jump right into a couple things that, again, this is something I want you to asterisk. I want you to really, take this in. But if you're a restoration contractor, the best way, there's a million different ways you can get leads, right? And I'm talking digitally, right? You got 33 Mile, you got lead gen services, you got SEO, pay-per-click. But at the minimum, you need these three things. One, you need a website. And two, you have to implement a strategic SEO program and pay-per-click. We found, and I'm basing this information on case studies. We have tons of restoration clients around the US, and what has worked the best for them and for us to give them as much help and optimize their leads and maximize their leads from the internet is having a really strong SEO foundation and running pay-per-click at the same time, okay? And I'm gonna show you why. Well, first, why do you need SEO for your restoration business? We hear it all the time. Look, and I understand why a lot of you, if you've used another agency or used other agencies, you've done it yourself, SEO becomes a really dirty three-letter word. People bank on the ambiguity of the service, but at the end of the day, you have to understand that it's about dominating that homepage, the first page of Google search results, okay? And really the biggest reason that you need SEO right now is, again, I said this just a minute ago, when people are searching for your service online, they're not like trying to find a new restaurant to go to and they're not reading reviews. Like they have had some sort of property damage, whether it's minor or catastrophic, and they need you right away. So that real estate on page one of Google search results, which we're going to break down in a minute, having placement in every one of the sections when we break this thing down is paramount to being able to get the leads out of there. You're casting a very wide net and you don't let them escape your brand, all right? Again, I can't stress this enough, 90% of people, and even more if you use my networking group as a sample size, a lot of people right now, and it's growing, are using search engines to find a product or services, all right? If you're not on the first page, this is something we like to say a lot is, but if you're not on page one of Google, the best place to hide a dead body is page two of Google, right? So, we talk about having a really nice website that speaks to your target client, but if you're not using SEO and you're not implementing some sort of digital marketing strategy, it's almost like having like the nicest business cards you've ever printed up in your life, and it's just like, man, these are the shit, and you never take them out of your car and give them to anybody. So SEO is going to have people asking you for those business cards. Pay-per-click is almost like people saying, hey, who does a service, and you're throwing them at them. So you need to do it. And I do want to say, and because this comes up a lot, we see this all the time. I mean, 9 times out of 10 when we talk to somebody, if you're going to use an agency for doing your search engine optimization or pay-per-click, just remember, there are no guarantees. Run away. If somebody says, I guarantee you page 1 rankings, run away screaming, okay? And I'll tell you, the easy reason is, one, there's so many different variables and factors. It's almost like somebody asking you if you can guarantee them that 100% of your clients are going to be satisfied. There's no way to do that. You always have that wild card out there. But even more so, if you head on over to google.com and just type it in, can someone guarantee SEO results? One of the first things you see, all right, what besides, I'm sure you guys all get these emails or these automated calls, trying to talk to you about how great your website is and you're not ranking on search engines. The biggest thing is no one can guarantee a #1 ranking on Google. In fact, you should beware of SEO companies that claim to guarantee rankings, or I've heard people talking about, we have somebody in Google, we have priority indexing. There's no such thing. And if you need any more proof, Google it yourself. There's no way that you can guarantee it. The only way to do SEO properly is to do it properly. It's follow Google's best practices, keep your fingers on the pulse of their algorithm changes that do change frequently, and just do it the right way. There's no way around it. There's a right way to lose weight. There's a right way to get in shape. And you can't take shortcuts because Google's going to catch you. Your weight's going to get back on your yo-yo diet. All that stuff is very relative. All right. So for anybody that's new out there, you have a new business you're starting up and you're thinking about putting together a marketing strategy or mapping out a plan. What is SEO? We've been talking about SEO a lot. I mentioned in the beginning, it's a nasty 3-letter word for some people because they've been taken to the cleaners with it and never got results. SEO is all right, technical hiccup. All right, so SEO just stands for search engine optimization, which is basically just the practice of increasing the quality and quantity of traffic to your website through those organic search engine results. And again, I'm gonna map out what that first page looks like, where the organic traffic is in a second here. And you have to remember, again, I'm gonna mention this again, these algorithms change so frequently that your tactics have to evolve in response to those changes. So again, I can't stress this enough, beware of anybody that claims to have like the secret sauce. Run away from any software that claims to be able to get you #1 rankings on Google. There's a good chance that, hey, they may work, and they may work for a month, they may work for years, but at some point, Google will catch up with you, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna get blacklisted, and all that money and all that time you've dedicated to building up your rankings and building up that authority on your website is gonna go out the window, right? And good luck climbing out of that. Talk about a gut punch, right? But we see it all the time. There's always that somebody that's coming up. You cannot circumvent Google. The best thing to do is do what they say. The best practices are laid out. We lay it out in the book, and we talk about this a lot in our webinars. All right, so how do you read a search engine result? We went ahead and we Googled water damage restoration, Dallas, Texas, and you have a few different results. So here's the legend. So the first thing you're gonna see, the first couple listings are your pay-per-click. Those are your Google ads. And a lot of times you're probably seeing them a lot. They're not in every market, but they have Google guaranteed local service ads. There's a huge vetting process that goes through that. But the cool thing about them is they actually get to, they kind of pre-qualify these leads before they call you. Then you have your maps listing, right here. I'm sure you've all seen it. And then right under that is the holy grail of digital marketing, which is the organic listings, the non-paid listings, and there's 10 of those. Okay, so we talk about having as much real estate on the first page of Google as possible. This is the fundamental piece of real estate that you guys need to be having, are these non-paid organic listings, okay? These are listings that populate when somebody types in water damage restoration Dallas. If somebody was to look on this and scan this page, we're gonna check out dalworthrestoration.com as the #1 position in organic. That's amazing. And odds are the user's gonna click there. But you really want to go further than that. You want to be able to be #1 in the map section. You also want to have some placement in the ads to really maximize. Look, it's like fishing, right? You have one pole in the water, you'll probably catch some fish, but if you have 4 or 5, probably have better chances. All right, so organic search. Here's our triangle of marketing success here. It needs to be the foundation of your marketing plan. But I'm sure you've heard this if you work with other agencies or maybe you've tried it yourself. Organic search rankings can take months, I think even years to rank.
okay? And it's really based off your market. It's based off the competition. If you're an antique Singer sewing machine repairman in some small town in Massachusetts, probably with a little bit of work, you probably have no problem getting to the first page of Google because you really don't have any competition. But in the restoration industry, man, it is competitive. And most states are like South Florida, especially the Gulf states, East Coast, California hits us a lot. Man, there are a lot of contractors out there that offer restoration. So organic search can take months to rank, and you have to know that going into this. And this is why we talk about maximizing your lead value by implementing pay-per-click and organic search. Okay, because pay-per-click is going to get you leads now. There's a bidding process, and we'll talk a little bit about that now. We have a future webinar coming up about pay-per-click, but for really the end of the day is while it's taking you those months to climb those ranks for organic traffic for your core services, pay-per-click is going to have those ad placements there, and you have a very good chance of actually generating some revenue while you're waiting for that organic search to take place. And a lot of times we'll find they help accelerate each other because you really, again, it's about taking over that first page of Google. Don't neglect any one of those three areas. You should be concentrating on all three of them, okay? And, again, we did an SEO webinar. I'm just going to scratch the surface. I have to. I want to throw this information out there for you guys just to kind of tie everything together. You got to remember on your website, the content is king. We talked about who you're marketing to. We talked about the message and how to speak to those people, and the website obviously is how you're going to deliver that. Well, content is the way, right? You need to have a homepage that describes what you do. I know I'm making this sound like very simple, but I'm telling you, we look at thousands of websites a year, and there's a lot of them that just don't have any information on the homepage. They think by just having the website, they've checked that box off. Their little nephew that's going to college made them some little Wix page or something like that, and they're good. Well, no, you're good because you have a website. You can put a URL on your business card, but it's not going to do you any favors if your goal is to try to use that website to get you leads, okay? The value proposition, what makes you a better option than your competition? That's big because there's a lot of competition. So how are you going to cut through the noise and separate yourself from the rest? You need to have that right there on the homepage, all right? And a really big thing, not to get too deep into technical SEO, but for every service that you offer and every service that you're trying to get leads for online, you got to have a separate page on your website for it, okay? We see this a lot where they'll have a button on their site that says Our Services, and you click it and it's just one landing page. It might have a ton of content. You might have very well done, keyword dense content, and then you have a bullet list of the services you provide. And that's okay, right? But it's not gonna, again, it's not gonna do you any favors as far as getting you any leads from the internet. And because you gotta remember this, Google is basically matching queries with websites that have the content that match those queries, right? So if you have some generic services page, just adds all the services, and then your competition has a separate landing page for mold remediation, they have a water damage restoration page, and they have a fire damage restoration page. Those are usually more hyper-focused on that service, which is basically the keyword in that city, to where Google is going to make more sense of that. So if I'm looking for a water damage restoration contractor, you have one sentence of content on some generic service page versus somebody that's put this value-based content, it's keyword rich, it's titled and tagged properly with the metadata, they're going to serve those results before yours. So a rule of thumb too, content-wise, we can get super technical with content, but the rule of thumb is try to have at least 500 words of content that talks about that specific service in your core city. All right, so if you're a water damage restoration contractor in Dallas, that's what that content needs to be centralized around. Proper on-page optimization. In our webinar on SEO, I talked about what that means. It's basically just the way Google reads your website. And so it's back-end kind of HTML coding where you're showing them the meta title, the meta description, and the metadata, which is what you're going to populate on a Google search result. But if you don't have that in order on your homepage or on any of your core service pages, Google's going to have a harder time indexing it. They're just going to kind of look at it and just lump it in with the rest of the guys. So by having that on-page optimization done properly, you're really helping yourself out and kind of throwing some gas on the fire. And we showed you how to do that in the SEO webinar. I map it out in my book. There's plugins. If you have a WordPress website, which we always are pushing, there's plugins that will kind of help you do all of that. It's very easy. Don't get too lost in the technicalities of it. And so we talked a little bit about SEO, why it's important. It's the foundation of your marketing plan. But we also talked about it takes a long time to get ranked. So why we implement SEO with pay-per-click at the same time. Pay-per-click, PPC, stands for pay-per-click. Those are the ads above the maps and above the organic section, whether it's those LSA, the local service ads, or you've been on weather.com and saw a little ad for a product you may have searched for. Those are all different types of Google ads, and they're all effective. Whether it's for brand awareness or whether you're targeting specific needs. So, we have clients that, kind of go into the Gulf if there's a hurricane, and we'll target Google ads based around that area. And, you're essentially just bidding on keywords to get that placement on Google, which is above the organic and map section. So there's a bidding process. You base it off of, you can drill down as far as zip code. You can do a lot with a Google ad, and they're huge. They'll get you those leads right away. But to do it right, it's a very intimate process. There should be a lot of communication. Just, try to stay away from, agencies that are, going to do manager pay-per-click, and they're doing like a once a month check-in. That you're not going to get anything out of that. They're basically getting a budget from you. They're throwing that budget up, and they really don't have a vested interest in getting you more jobs. Okay. When we deal with a pay-per-click client, we're talking to them on a daily, sometimes multiple times a day, to make sure that we're, one, not overspending. I mean, I've seen people spend $10,000 in a day on accident. We don't want to do that. We want to start small. We need to kind of craft a plan, and we need to see what that cost per click is, because every time somebody clicks on one of those ads, it's costing you money. But they can get you leads now if they're done right. So again, I can't stress it enough. Utilize SEO and pay-per-click if budget permits. Again, you're building a solid foundation with SEO. But you have to understand it does take months, sometimes years. If you were a personal injury attorney, man, those are some very competitive keywords to get ranked on organic. So that's where pay-per-click's going to come in and help you out. So they will get you leads today. And again, at the end of the day, you want to just take over the entire first page of Google. Okay. You want to take over the maps. You want to take over organic. You want to take over the ad section. You want to take over YouTube. We love video. Down the road a little bit today, we're going to talk a little bit about video and leveraging video for you, and Google My Business. All right. So we've talked about SEO. We've talked about pay-per-click. Now let's talk about how you can dominate Google Maps. All right. Here's a water damage restoration near me search we did. Here are the first map results that we got. You have to think about this though. A lot, or most of the home service traffic is going to come from the maps results, right? Google's matching a keyword that you've typed in with a location, whether you write the location or they're using their location services to figure out where you are. That's how you get those map results. All right. And it's not real hard to win on Google Maps. It doesn't even have to cost you any money. Okay. One of the most fundamental things you can do to win on Google Maps is to set up, verify, and manage a Google My Business. Now, this is something that doesn't take very long to do at all as far as the setup process goes. The verification takes a little longer, but you don't have to do any work. And there's people, you can do it yourself. It's free. We offer it as a service, but it's very simple. There is a little bit of work that is involved in it. So first thing you want to do, if you don't have a Google business, get in there and claim your listing. And you can do that a couple different ways, but the easiest way is to Google yourself. Okay, Google your business, Joe's Restoration. And if you don't have a Google business, it's going to populate automatically a Google business page. But what you're going to see instead of reviews, you're going to see something that says own this business with a question mark, or it'll say claim this business. You're going to want to click that. And then Google's going to walk you through the verification process. Okay. And that verification process, if you've done it, great. If you haven't done it, it's very simple. Once you get all your business information in there, there's going to be a button that says verify the address. And what they do is they're going to send a postcard with a code. And you have to remember this. They're not going to send it to a P.O. box. They're not going to send it to a fake address. You need a physical brick and mortar location. All right. So if you have an office, you have a warehouse, and that's your operating address, that's where they're going to send the postcard to, because they want to verify you're a legit business. Again, I said it before, Google's all about making sure that they're delivering the right information that match the queries of their users. And they're also vetting out poor practices in business. Okay. So having a brick and mortar location, you have to. It takes 5 to 10 days. That's where I said it takes a little time. It does take 5 to 10 days sometimes to get that postcard. Sometimes the postcard doesn't come at all, so you'll have to re-verify a few times sometimes to get it. But it will come eventually. And then you go back into your Google page, you put that code in, and great, you're verified. Now you can start getting reviews. Now you can start climbing those map section results. All right. So getting and managing reviews, it is huge. And we're going to talk about it a little bit, but I want to just say, you got to have Google reviews. You got to have Google reviews. You got to have them. In the buyer's journey in your industry, in a lot of industries, they're going to Google what they need. They're going to maybe find you on a map section. They're going to look at your Google business, and the first thing they're going to do is compare Google reviews. And same thing if you're going to go shop on Amazon for something you're not really concerned, you don't know about, you're going to look at the reviews. Okay, so having them is huge. Having good reviews is even better, and making sure you're managing and responding to reviews is big too, because it shows that you're vested into your business and doing the right thing. But before you get to the review section, you got to make sure you have your NAP in order. All right, and no, I don't mean the NAP some of you wish you were probably taking right now on Thursday afternoon. I'm talking about your name, address, and phone number. It sounds pretty basic, but it's so important about getting ranked on Google Maps that, and SEO results in general, you have to have it. And I mean, it has to be consistent across all platforms. And if you watched our SEO webinar, if you're going to go rewatch it, you're going to hear a whole lot about backlinks and link generation and building authority. One of the ways you do that is by having different websites with your website and your business information, whether it's a business directory like Yelp or social media profile like Facebook or Instagram. Whatever address you have on your website has to be identical across all of those directories and all of those business listings. And I mean identical to the point where if you spell out Avenue on your website, you better have Avenue spelled out on every one of those different directory listings and social media profiles, because it will hurt you. Okay, so making sure you have your map in order is big, especially if you want to win on Google Maps to take over that first section of Google. So taking over page one, that real estate is huge. Now we're going to talk about something none of you probably know about, social media. I don't know if you've heard of it. It is a really hot topic nowadays, but I want to talk about specifically how you can leverage social media to get more repeat and referral business, okay? And I know a lot of you are probably thinking like, nobody's going onto a Facebook and looking for a water damage restoration contract, and you're right, they probably aren't. It's about that top of the mind mentality. It's about brand awareness. It's about just people knowing and associating your brand. That's why the professional logo is important with the service that they need. So before anything, if you're writing down our goals right now, I want to make sure that you have all or more of these pages claimed. You have a Facebook business, you have an Instagram business, and build them out. You know, put some posts on there. And we'll talk about some things that you can post in a little bit. Get a Twitter, get your YouTube claim, get your LinkedIn claim. LinkedIn's a great way for B2B referral business if you're trying to partner with plumbers. If you're trying to speak in industry association things, LinkedIn's great. You can connect with professionals. And it really, again, just shows that you're somebody they can trust. You're a trusted resource in the industry. Now, how do you leverage social media to get more repeat and referral business? If you follow us on social media, we're always showing you things that you need to be posting. No, you don't need to be teaching people how to do digital marketing. You don't need to be helping restoration contractors get more leads. You're trying to help yourself get more leads. So easy thing, make sure you're posting things that are relative to the types of jobs you want to get, all right? Try to stay away, as hard as it is these days, stay away from political stuff, stay away from personal stuff, stay away from anything that may cause some controversy right off the bat. And you're going to be fine. You want to make sure that you're posting, if you need water jobs, you're posting content relative to those water jobs. You may be doing some before and afters, right? Show and document that process. It's something we preach to our clients all the time, is documenting that process. What does it look like when I have X and Y restoration company come to my home? Okay, I know I've had this property damage. Hey, we've come, we've showed up. This is what we're going to do. This is our process, and show that off on Facebook. Because I'll tell you right now, if you can do that, you're going to go a long ways. The other thing you can do is teach somebody, okay? Google loves it. Social media loves it. People love it. They love value content. You can put posts out there. If somebody's doing SEO for you, they should be blogging. So if they do a blog that's really cool, like the top 5 things to look for if you have water damage or if your roof is leaking, throw that up as a social post. Teach them. People don't know. You have to educate your market a little bit, and then show them how you're going to be able to help them resolve that problem. Video. I love video. If anybody listens to anything we do a lot of video. You don't be afraid of video. Everybody's afraid of video. It's as easy. Everybody's got these cell phones that are just really amazing cameras. Pull your phone out, talk a little bit, be authentic. Actually, the more authentic you are, the less polished it is, the more likely somebody is going to watch it and trust you. All right. Spending a ton of money on video, if you have the budget, awesome. But just remember, you can do the same thing with your phone. You can do the same thing with a few $100s worth of microphones and lighting and stuff like that you did. So talking about specifically showing off before, during, and afters, video is a great way to be able to do that, to document your process. And the bigger one is getting testimonials. So don't overthink it. Just remember, people are more likely to watch a video. You can show off your jobs easier, but the big one, and this is something huge, and this is something we love to do and we love to do for our clients, are getting case studies, okay? A testimonial. So somebody's gone on, they left you great Google reviews. That's amazing. That's awesome. But man, having somebody on video, when you've documented the process of a catastrophic property damage or even minor stuff, and somebody's saying, hey, I'm every man, and I'm telling you that these guys are, if you have any type of property damage, these are the guys that you need to talk to. I can't believe, we've gone through so and so and so and so, and we've ended up to this point. And then you have this testimonial of people, because you got to know this, especially if you've been in the industry long enough. Everybody's the best in the world. Everybody's the #1 contractor. We all have the best technicians. You have 100 years of experience. You can talk about yourself till you're blue in the face. But when somebody else talks about how good you are, that's worth its weight in gold. So now you have this gold nugget of a case study. And your social posts, or any kind of informative, value-based content you're putting out there, you need to syndicate it. All right, it's something big. Just having that content's wonderful, but hoarding it, in a cave and never showing it to anybody is, it's not really doing you any favors. It's already hard enough to get somebody to give you a video testimonial. It's already hard enough to get somebody to give you a review. Make sure you're spreading that thing as far and wide as you can to show everybody and jump up and down and cut through the noise. And syndicating it is very simple. Let's say you've got somebody that you've done property damage restoration. They've given you a video testimonial. First thing I would be doing is handing that to my SEO team, creating a blog, transcribing it, embedding that on YouTube. So you can have that YouTube, because YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine. So you should have some placement there. Get it on a blog, throw it up on a social post, tag that lady. And when we're talking about leveraging social media to get you more repeat and referral business, well, if you tag, Jane Doe on a property damage, and she sees that, she shares that with her group of however many friends she has on their Facebook, there's a good chance, people looking at it are going to be like, wow, that's great. But there's also a chance that somebody may need your services, or may have been already working with somebody in your industry and they're not happy. So that top of mind awareness is something you always need to keep in the back of your head. I preach it. You need to be active on social media. Part of the buyer's journey is they're going to vet you out on social. Again, you got to think about it like being omnipresent. If you watched our other webinars, or if you followed us on social media, we talk about this all the time, is you need to be digitally omnipresent, meaning everywhere. There's no magic pill to marketing your business. So cast as big as a net as you possibly can, and make sure you're syndicating your content, especially if it's worth it. And again, we talked about backlinks and stuff like that, but this is the syndication process. You can get your stuff on your Google Business. You post it on Twitter. You may be able to have an opportunity to post something in Normie or IICRC, an article and a case study. Now, maybe you're trying out a new technology for dryouts, like document it. Throw it on YouTube. Get it on Yelp. Get these reviews. Put it on Facebook. It's not going to hurt you. Get it everywhere. Make that one piece of content turn into 50. All right? And that leads me right into, well, you know what? We'll talk about this a little bit too. So a lot of people, overthink video a lot. I can't stress it enough. Pull your phone out and just videotape yourself, film a job. You're going to see, a different type of kind of content that you can put out there. Maybe that sales pitch. Hey, if you've had water damage, call us today. We can help you out through it. But I want to talk about 4 things you can do for a really effective social media video. One thing you have to keep in mind is you got like less than 3 seconds to catch their attention. All right. If you've done it, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're just scrolling like this, and there's something compelling, you're going to watch it. So you need to grab them. Hey, hey, did your roof just blow off? Something like that to hook them in the first 3 seconds. And then you want to ignite and speak to that pain point. These people need to be able to identify with the problem or the opportunity that exists. So you can ask a question, you can show success, you can show failure. So a good thing is, hey, if you've had a roof leak from this last hurricane, here's 5 things you cannot be doing. And then you go into it. So you grab their attention, you're going to teach them something, and then you're going to offer them the 3rd step is giving them a solution. Hey, we have 3,000 years of experience in property damage. We're family owned and operated. We can be there in 24 hours and take care of your problem. And then a call to action. How are they going to get a hold of you? All you need to do is pick up the phone, call us today. We'll be there within an hour. All right. Don't overthink this. Also, the one thing I don't want you to do, don't introduce yourself in the beginning of the video. You're using up that 3 seconds that people may be able to, that you're trying to hook them with talking about who you are. Nobody cares who you are. You talk about who you are after. So, hey, have you been spending thousands of dollars on digital marketing and not getting any results? I know how it is. My name is Ben. We can help you out. I'm Ben with Ironclad Restoration Marketing. We help businesses get more leads by getting their internet marketing right. Throw that up on Instagram, and you'll probably get a lot of people to watch that. And we've done this in-house. We do a lot of advertising. So we have a client that doesn't want to do video. So we get a graphic. It looks great. Hey, we've remediated. Here's our process. Here's a graphic. And we throw it up on an ad on social media. And, you know, when we look at the results, we'll always say, hey, let us just put together a little video for you. The same video, I mean, the same content, but it's in video form, the same ad spend, the same targeted demographic on the ad. And when you line them up side by side, the video is at least 10 times better performing than the graphic. The video is going to have way more link clicks. It's going to be shown to way more people, and that's just the way the algorithm works. The more people that watch it, the more people that are engaged with it, the more people that will see it for free. All right, so again, we talk about our digital omnipresence method, and kind of to wrap everything up is you need to be omnipresent. You have to be everywhere, okay? Don't put all of your eggs into one basket. You need to diversify because there's tons of options out there. You should use them all. There is no magic pill. What works in one market doesn't work in another market. But if you get the basics in order and you dominate the different areas people they're focused on online, especially when you understand who you're marketing to, what their pain points are, and how you're going to market to them, you're going to be a lot better off. But focus on the basics at first, right? Make sure you have a website that's built to convert. Make sure you're running a program of SEO and pay-per-click. Make sure before that you're tracking these results. Keep your fingers on the pulse. Don't just give somebody marketing money and trust what they're going to do. Learn to read the analytics, learn what the data means, and that way you can make more informed marketing decisions moving forward. Utilize and leverage social media. Utilize LinkedIn to make those B2B, get those outside referrals. And if you can do it, I preach it all the time. Video, 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 get a YouTube channel, post videos, talk about your services, talk about your water damage restoration process, why mold is dangerous, how to know if you have mold, what to do if your roof starts leaking, all those things. Put them on YouTube because those are things people are looking for. And you know your market, and you know your industry better than everybody, especially hopefully after today, you're gonna have this kind of person mapped out. Think about what they may be, put yourself in their shoes and put content out there that's relative that they're gonna resonate with. All right, so just to recap, hopefully you guys have set some goals. I gave you guys a few seconds in the beginning to set a few goals for 2021, and you have an action plan. We've identified your target client, all right? We talked about having a website, but not just having a website, but a website that's built to convert traffic into leads. We talked about how important it is to implement SEO and pay-per-click. And I'm saying that not just to say it. I'm saying it because we have a lot of clients in the restoration industry across the whole United States, and those are the two things right now. If you're not doing anything else, the website with SEO and pay-per-click, that's how they're getting leads. All right, so I'm telling you how to get the leads. It's that easy. And from there, you can build upon that. I mean, you can really go crazy. The email marketing is super effective. Social media advertising, YouTube advertising, there's a lot. But you need to at least be doing SEO and pay-per-click if you want to get leads. At the end of the day, it's about making that phone ring and closing those jobs, all right? Get ranked on Google Maps. That lends into the SEO part. And you do that by the easy way right now that you can do, but you have complete control over, it doesn't cost you anything, is get a Google My Business, verify it, and start managing it and start getting reviews, okay? We have a service here, reputation management. We help clients get a lot of reviews, but really it's not about the quantity of reviews, it's about quality and consistency, okay? It's not enough to just get 100 reviews in the first month and then you don't get any more reviews for a year. That's not gonna do you anything. Yeah, you got 100 reviews, that's awesome. But if you wanna reap the rewards of having SEO, having it affect your search engine optimization, having it affect your maps rankings, then get good reviews, get quality reviews, but get them consistency, 1 or 2 a month, and you're good. If you can consistently get 1 or 2 reviews a month, you're going to be doing way better than if you just got 100 and then you never got any another time. We talked about how to leverage social media a little bit. Make sure, look, post content that's pertinent to the type of jobs that you want to get. Stay away from the religious stuff. Stay away from personal stuff. If you can, make sure you have business pages. Make sure you're claiming all of those different business pages. Not only is it casting a wider net for you to be able to get your message across to your target market, but it'll help you as far as your ranking factor on SEO. Okay? And again, be omnipresent. Be everywhere. Don't let them escape. Between the web, social media, business directories, your industry associations that you guys are paying all this money to be a part of, get active. Reach out to the decision makers out there. Provide some value to your industry. All right, and let's talk a little bit. You know, did anybody learn anything? What did you? Hopefully, you learned something. My goal for you guys right now is to really kind of map out a plan. Either, you know, hopefully it's reaffirmed some of the things you're already doing. Maybe it's kind of let you know and bridge some gaps here that you may have in your marketing plan. Is there anything anybody'd like to share? Got a few of you in here. Let me just find the chat window real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. There we go. All right, so we got a couple things in here. All right, so, hey, all right, so what do you suggest for ad spend for Google Ads? Okay, well, that's a great question, and it comes up quite a bit. But I'm gonna answer you, probably not gonna like this. I don't know. So when it comes to ad spend, we talked about a little bit that there's a bidding process, right? So there's so many different factors that go into cost per click is what you end up wanting to do. Because you wanna figure out, you have an ad budget, but the goal is to optimize your ads and your targeting and your keyword bidding to make sure that you're keeping that cost per click as low as possible. And so, you know, the big thing for us, what we do with our clients is communication is key. Communication and optimization. If we were to pull on a new pay-per-click client, and let's just say we had a hurricane that hit the Gulf, right? And they were like, hey, we're bringing a team out there. We really want to target that area. Well, the first couple weeks, we're on the phone with them multiple times a day. All right. We typically like to start with a smaller budget, maybe a couple $100 a day. Because you really don't know what those costs per clicks are going to look like until you get an idea of the market and the competition and the competitiveness of those keywords to get them ranked. So, you know, I've seen things as low as $10 a click, and I've seen them as high as $150 for a hurricane. So communication right up front is going to be huge, because you may say, man, it's going to take like $5,000 a week or $5,000 a day to compete with this. That's going to be rough. And knowing that information right off the bat is going to manage your expectations for it. So my suggestion is, if you're going to be doing pay-per-click, is try it. If you're working with an agency, make sure they're communicating with you. Don't ever give them like, hey, we want to spend $5,000 and get us there, because I'm telling you right now, I've seen it more times than not that I've seen people that didn't know what they were doing spend that in like the first day and not get anything out of it. So talk about burning money up. That's not the way to do it. But if you have any questions about pay-per-click at all, reach out. We have a ton of different social media posts and little videos that you can do to learn a little bit more about it. And we manage them all the time. But again, communication. Make sure you understand what you're trying to do with it. Okay. Anybody else here? Any other questions? That can't be it, guys. I know you guys have burning questions. Don't be shy. All right. Okay, we got one here. How many blogs per month should we be doing for SEO? Okay, that's great. It really depends on what your results are. We found you really don't need to be doing more than one a month really becomes effective, but it really depends. You have to kind of monitor your analytics and monitor what's happening in the big picture. If you know how to read your Google Analytics, or you have an agency doing it for you. Blogs are great ways to be able to get those long tail keywords or give some value content out that's going to kind of put you in the shoes of your target client. So right off the bat, if you don't have a blog, I'm just going to take this a step back. For those of you that might not have a blog, get a blog. Blog monthly. That's a big part of SEO. And, you know, it really depends. I say one or two is probably good enough because at some point you're probably going to run out of topics. So again, it boils down to consistency and then thinking about what people are searching for when they look for you. A great thing, I'm a DIY guy. So the first thing I look at when I have a problem is I go into a search engine and I try to figure out how to do it myself. So if you're looking for blog topics, that's a good place to start. Again, it all boils down to understanding who you're trying to market to. All right. You can give people tips and teach people what not to do. But at the end of the day, you're boiling all these blogs back down and giving you a call because you're the professional in the industry. All right, John asked, how long does it take to get results with SEO? We kind of mentioned it a little bit. I don't know. It does take months, okay? If you're doing it right, you're not doing any black hat, you know, meaning like you're doing it the right way. It takes a while. It can take months. You know, you're going to get, depending on your keyword, depends on your market. There's 200 different variables that come into play when it comes to ranking your site. But normally you're looking at like a 3 to 6 month window for your really competitive keywords. And again, every market is different, but you usually have a very good idea. Like, so if you're using an agency, you should have a pretty good idea of what your competition's like after the first month or so. You're going to see some movement, you know, because there's a lot of competition. So you should be seeing some movement. But more so, it's trying to understand and kind of take the data and the analytics that your agency should be giving you, and understanding that, you know, you're on the right track. A lot of people like to focus on keyword rankings, which is great, but keywords are just a very small part of the pie. But keywords are, especially in the first couple months, a very good indicator that things are on the right track. So you never want to get too hyper-focused on keywords. You never want to get too hyper-focused on one thing because at the end of the day, it's about your phone ringing. Okay, it's either going to ring or it's not. But organic does take a few months to kick into place. There's nobody, goes back to the guarantee, there's nobody that's doing SEO properly that are going to get you results faster than that. I mean, you're at Google's mercy. They crawl sites, millions of sites a day. There's ways to get them to recrawl your site. So let's say you put a blog up, you're doing SEO yourself, and you submit your site to Google Search Console to scan that blog. They're going to scan it, but they're still going to put you in a queue. So usually you want to, it's full transparency. You want to just understand that it's going to take a few months, and that's why we always preach to do pay-per-click at the same time. Okay, hopefully that answered your question there. I know some of this is very ambiguous, but that's just marketing. Marketing is it's different everywhere. You can go, and we're in South Florida, what works as far as like how fast keyword rank in Palm Beach County is going to be different for Miami-Dade. It's going to be different for the Keys. It's going to be different for the Panhandle. But again, it's about having a goal. It's about measuring and tracking and making sure you're on the right path. Okay, and never, ever, ever try to circumvent Google's best practices. There's been so many algorithm updates. People used to stuff keywords all over their website. It doesn't work anymore. You have to do it right. It's content, positioned properly, offering value, mobile website. All right. Anything else before we go? If anybody has any other questions, obviously, you can reach out to us anytime. Next steps, guys. Look, what are the first 3 steps you're going to take after watching this webinar? You've been here for about an hour or so. I'm really appreciative. I hope you guys all got a ton out of this. If anybody can drop in the chat here some of the things that they're going to do right away. What's the first thing you're going to do? Maybe besides go, get a drink of water or something like that. But for your business, what's the first thing you're going to implement out of everything we talked about? Goal setting, SEO, pay-per-click, building websites. But what's the first thing you're going to do for your business? Do you see any gaps right off the bat? Drop it in the chat real quick, and I'll take a look. Private here. All right, Google, checking into Google My Business and starting a blog. That's awesome. Making sure your site is built for conversions. Look, those are huge. They all kind of lend so much into each other. One hand washes the other. And what you want to make sure is that they're all kind of working properly. So, this marketing checklist you guys are all going to get at the end of this. You might have downloaded it already. We share it all the time on our social media. It's going to kind of walk you through just the basics that you need. But yeah, look, dude, if you have a website and it's not converting, hey, you're spending $10,000 a month with some agency and man, your phone is not ringing, but they're showing you, hey, look at all this traffic we're sending. You have 20 million keywords on the first page of Google. Look how nice everything is. Well, making sure your site's built for conversions is a big part because that's conversion optimization. It really is what we're trying to get to. So, take a look at your site, David. Make sure that you have that professional looking logo. Make sure that the first thing you see, check out your desktop site and your mobile side by side. If you're looking on your desktop, you can actually check your mobile. If you're on Google Chrome, you just hit F12 and there's a little, you'll see 2 little screen sizes. You'll see a desktop and a mobile. If you click that, it'll actually show you relatively close what your site looks like on mobile. So if you do that and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing is jacked up, then you have some homework. Start working on your mobile site. And it's not that hard, guys. A lot of these things that you can do, look, just 10% of an improvement in any of these areas are going to go a long way. But I want to make sure you guys are keeping your eye on the prize for 2021. 2020 was crazy. We're not probably out of the water yet, but having this goal and focusing on the big picture of everything is going to be huge for you guys. So again, hopefully you have at least 3 things that you're going to take to crush 2021. We're going to go right into here. So as I promised, if you stuck around, you're going to get that checklist. But we do this here, guys. So if you have any other questions, if there's something we went over in today's webinar or that you haven't found in our other 2 webinars that we've done previously or any of our social posts, just reach out to us. This is what we do. We help restoration businesses get more leads by getting their internet marketing right, whether it's web design, social media, pay-per-click, SEO. We do it all. We do it all in-house. We've got an amazing team. We're all here to help the industry. We love helping people. If you want to get in touch with us, head on over to our website, ironcladrestorationmarketing.com. Not only can you get a hold of us and schedule a meeting, but look, there's everything we do, every social post. We're practicing what we preach. We're syndicating our content. So if you really want to, you can kind of learn all this stuff on your own, and we implore you to. Even if you are going to work with an agency, at least you're empowered with some information, so you're not going to get taken to the cleaners and put a bad name in this industry anymore. Check out the book. It's on Amazon. I map out start to finish everything we do for our clients, what you need to be focusing on to get more leads and sales, and you can do this stuff yourself. It's a great reference. I'm really proud of the book. My team helped me put this together. It's amazing. Follow us on social media. If you want free info and you want free tips and tricks, or you just want to talk to us and engage, bounce some ideas off each other, check us out on Facebook and on Instagram. We're active as heck on there. We're also active on YouTube. You can watch all our videos. But we try to, again, syndicate, be omnipresent. Typically, if you only have the mental capacity or the bandwidth to focus on one of these areas, just check them out. We have a lot of information on there. Valuable. We'd love to talk to you. All right. So for those who stuck around, we got a little reward for you, the free checklist. This is a checklist that we put together. It's called the Ultimate Restoration Business Internet Marketing Checklist. These are just like a very macro overview of just the things that it's a health check. Look in the mirror. I know David said he wanted to make sure his site was built for conversions. MC said they're taking a look at their Google business and they're going to start doing a blog. I love to hear it. All that stuff's on this checklist. Take a look at it. Check as many boxes off as you can. Start at the top and then go through it and make sure that you're doing it. Make sure your agency is following this. Make sure you are empowering yourself with information. And if you want, we're offering a free consultation for anybody that's in this meeting here. We're willing to dedicate an entire hour to the success of your restoration business. Walk you through from script to screen, everything that you might be doing. Kind of take a look at your site, take a look at your social media, fill you in on some gaps you may be having. And maybe offer some tips that'll help you, start crushing 2021. Just head on over to our website. You can call us directly. We love talking to you. Or go over to the contact page, fill a form out. A lot of the pages that we have a contact form you can fill out for a strategy session. Utilize us. Look, this is what we're here for. We want to help you. We want to help you attain those goals and achieve those goals that you wrote down for 2021. All right. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much. Look, we're going to be showing a replay of this as soon as our team gets it edited up. We're going to have the full entire webinar on YouTube. It's a little over an hour. We're also going to be omnipresent. We're going to put that on our site. We're going to start clipping these up and putting them on social media. So if you ever want to refer back, if you've been taking notes, we will have it available online. Like I said, our YouTube page is full of value. We've also have our other webinars on there. You can find those on our website. If you want to take a little bit deeper of a dive on how to build a website that's built to convert, some things to look out for. And then we took a deep dive into SEO. Next month, February 11th, I believe, at 2 p.m. Yeah, we're going to be doing a webinar specifically on Google Business and getting reviews and making sure you're maximizing that Google Business page to start hitting these goals. And if some of you are going to be on that webinar that are here last time, I'm going to specifically call on you, David and MC and Jay. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to see if you've done any of these things that you've been putting in this chat here to make sure that you guys are on the right track and maybe have a little bit of a reality check and hold you guys accountable. All right, because that's what this is all about. I appreciate it. Check us out anytime. Take a look out for the replay. We will email you. Anybody that's pre-registered to this, you're automatically getting an email when it's live. I can't wait to see you soon. Good luck on 2021. Crush it, guys.